Hi there, students. Idle, idle, idle. So 3 words that sound exactly the same. Yeah? I-D-O-L, I-D-L-E, and I-D-Y-double-L. Okay, let's look at the one with a Y to start with, because this is by far the most difficult of the words. Okay, an idle with a Y is a happy, peaceful time, a happy experience, a blissful period, something that was a time that was beautiful and carefree, a peaceful episode, a peaceful time. Yeah, a moment of bliss. I was in an idle looking at the beauty of this flower. For some people it is an idle to spend August lying on a beach soaking up the sun. Personally, I get bored, but for some people this is an idle. So it's a wonderful moment, a moment of extreme happiness, like a honeymoon, yeah? A period of time where you'll feel everything is just perfect. Typically as well with this, an idle is something that is unsustainable, something that can only happen for a short period of time. It can't continue forever. So the idle days of summer with a Y, the happy peaceful moments of the summer, yeah, it's almost like your mind goes off somewhere else and you are in nirvana. Yeah. Notice with this word idle we have the adjective idyllic, because notice idle with a Y is a noun. It's a noun, not an adjective. So the idyllic beauty of this place, the idyllic peace of the forest. Yeah. For me, being in the forest and listening to the birds and the animals is an idle. Okay, this comes from ancient Greek, idyllion, which means a form, a shape, a picture. Notice as well, an idle has another meaning that's slightly different. It's a description of a picturesque, romantic scene, a country scene where everything is quaint and looks wonderful, bucolic, yeah? But this is a description, so it's either a description or a poem of perfect country life, yeah? An idyll describes the idyll that we imagine people live in the country, although it can be very different. Okay, so idyll, a blissful moment, a happy, peaceful episode, time or period. Yeah? Okay, now let's look at idle with an O. This is a noun. An idol with an O is an image representing a god, an effigy, an object of worship. Yeah. Very often when they use the word idol, they're talking about a false god. Yeah, a god that's not the real god. Yeah, it's just something that says it's God. So idols, religious objects that people worship. Notice a person can also be an idol. This is like a hero. This is a person who is admired or revered. So who are your idols? I remember there was a pop singer called Billy Idol. Well, I think he was more punky. who used to do a lot of work with David Bowie. But I think the idea of the name Billy Idol was that he is supposed to be an idol. Yeah? It's interesting, this word idol with an O also comes from the same Greek root, aideulion, a form, a shape, a picture. Yeah? So, an idol, an image representing a god, particularly a false god. Yeah, but it can also be a person who is greatly respected, a hero, somebody who is greatly revered. So I don't know. I wish politicians were idols for people instead of being objects of ridicule, objects to make fun of. Okay. Remember that idle is a noun. Now let's try the last one. Idle. I-D-L-E with an E. Yeah? It's an adjective. It can also be a verb. It's an adjective meaning lazy. So I was always very idle at school. Slothful. Yeah? Not full of energy and enthusiasm to do things, but trying to avoid work. Notice, if somebody is unemployed, you could call them idle with an E. Yeah? Half of the population is idle at the moment. We have a 50% unemployment rate. This has the idea of not in active use. So the machines in the factory lay idle for months. Notice this, to lay idle, yeah, to not be used. Many people buy an exercise machine because they're going to exercise every day, and then it lays idle in the front room for years without actually being used. Yeah, so idle. Okay, idle can also mean there's an absence of activity, an absence of movement, that there is not much going on. So the shop is really busy in the morning until about 11 o'clock, and then normally we're idle till about 12:30. Yeah, it's an idle time. Very few people come in. Notice as well, we can use idle to mean pointless, without any reason. So I spent all my day idly chatting, pointlessly chatting to my friends. Yeah, had nothing real content to it. We can also use idle to mean empty or without foundation. So he's always making idle threats, empty threats. He's always threatening to do something bad, but there's nothing to it, an idle threat. So let me go through these. Oh, wait a second, before I do that. To idle as a verb, well, it can mean to be lazy, not to be in action. Yeah, but also a car engine or an engine can idle. So an engine you can accelerate, and then when you take your foot off the accelerator, to idle, to go at a slow pace that is not without any acceleration, to tick over, to turn over. So just let the engine idle until you are ready to use it. Okay? Yeah, leave the car in neutral, put on the handbrake and let the engine idle so that you can charge up the battery. Okay, now it's time for me to go through the meanings of this idle with an E again. Lazy, slothful, unemployed, not in active use, an absence of activity, pointless, empty, without foundation, without anything inside it. Notice this meaning of idle has a different root. It comes from Dutch and German. Is related to the Dutch word Idyll, Ijdel, which means frivolous or worthless, or also to the word Idyll in German, meaning worthless. Okay? So, idle with a Y, idle with an O, idle with an E. So idle with a Y, a noun meaning a happy, blissful period of time, a honeymoon, a wonderful experience. Idle with an O, Idol, an image or an effigy of a god, or somebody who is a hero. And then idle with an E, Idle, lazy, not in use, an absence of activity, without foundation, empty. So, what about formality? Well, this first word, idle with a Y, Idyl, I think this word sounds really very literary. It's not very suitable for an informal conversation. Yeah? In an informal conversation, a happy moment, a really happy time, a wonderful experience. Yeah? But this is really good if you're writing an essay or even in a really formal written document. Yeah? The idol of the perfect world, the idol of a perfect society. Yeah? Okay, so the blissful moment. Okay, IDO, I think this is neutral formality. Yeah, you could use this a 5 out of 10. You could use it in an informal conversation, and you could use it as well in a very formal writing. So it's a versatile word that you can use in both places. And then idle, IDLE, meaning lazy, is neutral as well. Yeah, certainly a very good word to use in an informal conversation, and I'm certain you could use it in a very formal writing, so another versatile word. So IDOL, the effigy, and IDLE, lazy, you can use anywhere. The word IDYL, idle, this is very literary, and I wouldn't want to use it in an informal situation. So, there you go. So, try this sentence. Life is an idol for an idle idol. So, life is an idol. Life is a wonderful time for an idol, for a lazy idol. A person who is worshipped, hero. Okay? Life is an idol, Y, for an idol, E, idle, O. So there you go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Idle, idle, idle.